Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 98 podcast. I'm your host, Kiran, and today I'm joined by Lesly Romo, one of my friends from USF. And we're going to be talking about how to live in the moment and how to live your best life. And before we get started, let me introduce Lesly a little bit. She is a USF graduate, class of 2020, and she studied accounting. For more information on Lesly and today's topic, please follow us on Instagram at 98.podcast. And find out more information on our website. Welcome to the show, Lesly.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lesly. Thank you for having me in the show, Kiran.
Of course. Thank you for being here. And before we get started, just want to put out a quick disclaimer like usual. Everything we're sharing here is based off of our experience. We're not here to hurt anyone. We are here to give you an honest response to today's topic. So let's get started. Okay, so let's start off by just learning a little bit more about you, Lesly. Where are you from?
Here, San Francisco. Never left. Was born here, was raised here, still living here.
Nice. And I hear you're a Giants fan.
Yes, I love the Giants. I've been loving it since I was little. When I was younger, I used to go about 5 times a year. And since I've gotten older, it's harder to go, but I still try to go every 2 times a year. And recently because I have a little brother, he's 3 years old, and I took him to his first baseball game, and he was so excited. Because here at home, he plays a lot of baseball, and when we went there, he saw the bats, the actual wood bats, and he wanted one. It was very small, kid size, but I got him one, and he just goes all around. He's like, baseball, and he brings baseball and his bat, and he wants to play.
Aww.
And I love that I'm passing my love to baseball to my little brother.
That's so sweet. I was gonna say I've never been to a baseball game.
Really?
Ever. No, I don't even think I've been in high school or even in college, dude.
I need to take you to one.
Please. I feel okay, so I've seen so many people on their Instagrams and just on social media everywhere. They're all going to Giants games. I've been to SF a couple of times, and I'm always sitting next to people from going to the Giants stadium. But I've never been because I just feel like an outsider. I'm not a very baseball enthusiast, but I want to experience it. It just seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, you don't have to be a baseball fan. You just it's the whole thing about experiencing it. And something that I actually searched up, the Giants Stadium is one of the most beautiful in the whole country, because we have the whole view of the bay, which some other stadiums it's just all closed off, and it's just a beautiful experience.
Yeah, I saw that I think they're doing construction on it too. They're always making it better, right? Yeah. So cool. That's so cool.
Especially right now, since they're in first place, the best time to go watch it. Best team in baseball.
Okay, well, let's coordinate a date or something. Let's go. I'm down. Okay, well, moving on. You are also a lover of spicy food, I hear. Yes?
Yes, I love spicy food. Anything over spicy food, spicy, anything hot sauce or some chiles on top, just to make it taste a little bit better.
Dude, okay, I get that. Because, well, a lot of my friends are yeah, we love spicy food, but I don't think the level of spice that they talk about is, really nothing.
Yeah.
And I feel sometimes even when I go to restaurants and I want to always get the spicy option, but I feel a lot of restaurants, too, they kind of opt to doing, just throwing whatever, the meat or whatever into, some hot sauce or something. Mm-hmm. Whereas, I like the seasoned spicy food where it's, actually will hurt you,
Yes. And they label it spicy, and it's really mild.
Yeah. We don't go that way, but okay, love that. And then another fun fact that you brought up was that you do not know how to swim and you do not know how to ride a bike, right?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Okay, so because I've lived here my whole life, there's no swimming pools here. And, no houses here have a swimming pool. And my whole family lives here in the Bay Area, and it's not hot, in Oakland or Richmond, they're all right next, cities nearby. So those houses don't have pools either. So it's not I don't even have opportunity to know how to swim here or at a family's or a friend's houses, because there's no pools. And I don't even think parks here have pools. Only 1 or 2.
Yeah, when you said that, I was I forgot you're in San Francisco. You can't really go anywhere. I mean, you can swim in the beach, but not really. Even the beaches in SF aren't
they're very cold.
Yeah, they're not for swimming. But Okay, well, that makes sense then. Because, well, I mean, I guess you could kind of ride a. No, it's too dangerous to ride a bike.
No, like
If I get hit by a
thinking of the
car.
bike, right? Because we live in a city here in SF that there's so much bike riders like everywhere, and I keep asking myself like, how do these people go up the hills?
Oh,
Especially
yeah.
because I live downhill,
Yeah.
and it would be hard for me to just go down because it's hard, or like even go up because it's hard. I feel like it would be hard to like to pedal and like stop. And even like if I went to work or even if going to school, because you know how it's like low mountain and there's all these hills going up to USF, like it's just hard. Like, how do people ride bikes?
Dude, that's true. Okay, I was gonna judge, but I don't judge you anymore. Like that's a legit reason. But you do have your license, which I gotta say, if I was living in SF, I would not have my license because I'm too scared to drive.
That was just something that I recently got too, because I'm like, also public transportation here is so easy to get.
I know.
I didn't have a need for me to get a driver's license until the pandemic hit, when I'm like, I don't feel safe to go to places using public transportation. So whenever I need to get stuff, I'm just feeling more safer if I just drive myself to some place. So I just decided to get my driver's license.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense then. Like, it's San Francisco's fault that you don't know how to do those two things. It's definitely. Well, that's cool. All right. Well, I wanted to also bring up that we are fans of H3 production, with Ethan Klein and Keela. It was cool because like we bonded over this a couple weeks ago, and you and Amara came, and I love it. We got our beanies and everything. We'll put
it was so surprising because we didn't even know this about each other.
I know. I feel like I remember getting ice cream. We were just sitting there like fangirling over everything, and then Amara was just like, "What are we talking about?" we have to do this whole episode where we like do an analysis of H3 or like why we like it so much. But we used to be fans of Frenemies, technically ended, but we'll see, maybe in the future they might do it again, I guess. But how are you liking Families?
Okay, so I think the most recent episode, which is like the butterfly, they were doing something with butterflies, right? Yeah, I didn't watch that one yet. But
me neither.
Yeah.
I'm usually watching it live, but I just didn't have time yet.
I was just very busy with work this week, and the other episodes I've watched, and I just love the dynamic. I love Ethan's mom and his dad too. Like, he's just funny.
Yeah.
And it's something that I noticed, like a different type of air that I just see comparing Families to Frenemies. Like Frenemies was a little bit more like toxic, and like Families is just like a breath of fresh air. Like, so much nicer to just like hear stuff. And especially like there was this one thing that Trisha didn't want in the Frenemies, which was like the thing that they ask questions, like Q&A. I really love hearing like people's problems and like just having some type of advice.
Yeah. And she didn't like that.
Yeah.
I feel like, well, the thing is, I don't want to get into the Frenemies drama, but like she even did a Q&A on her channel like soon after, and I was like, why? You didn't like Q&A. I think she was just being kind of petty, but it's fine because I mean, like, I'm glad that they're both doing their own things. Like, they seem to be doing well with life, and if they could find a way to not bring back, well, if they could find a way to bring that show back in like a positive way where everyone's happy, then I'd love to see it come back. But if not, it's fine where it ended. Like, I was really sad because I remember waking up and you should never read the comments, because I feel like I woke up, I read the comments, and I knew she was gonna leave. And I was like, dang. But it is what it is. Like, I'm glad, but I do agree with you. Like, I think the new environment, it's so positive. Yes. I feel like you can really see Ethan's personality more. Like, I always thought he was such a softie, but he's an asshole too. He is, and I feel like he was just kind of hiding it for the long time, just to not hurt Trisha and or like cause a scene. So I really love his mom, and I love that she talks about butterflies all the time.
I know.
I love that. I hate how they don't let her finish her sentence, but it's fine. It's fine. Like, I think that's just her family. Like, I think it's a good dynamic. But anyways, moving forward, let's talk a little bit about like what you studied, the work you're kind of doing now, and where you're at. I guess you want to take it from here.
Okay, yes. So I studied accounting again at USF, and I got an internship through a company. I think it was like spring of junior year of college, where I started working. And I think originally it was supposed to be like a summer internship, but because I was doing well at my job, it just ended up being a year-long internship. And at the end of the year, which was like at the end of senior year, they offered me a full-time job, which I originally did not plan on taking because I did have like other plans. And because of the pandemic hit, I just decided to stay there because it was one of the few places that still wanted to offer me a job. So I just ended up working there.
Yeah. And then what do you currently do? Like, what's your role?
Okay, so my role is a fund accountant. We do like quarterly reporting for like investor companies, like just financial statements, work papers, capital calls, just a lot of numbers, very long numbers, a lot of journal entries too.
Gotcha. Fun. I don't know what else to say. But like, I think accounting is one of the most boring parts of business. Not gonna lie, I feel like I used to tell this to Umera all the time. Mutual friend Umera, shout out to Umera. But like when I think I've never really seen someone really enjoy that field. I think there are people like I think it's not for everyone, but it's also for some people. And I know we've talked about this too, where it's like very by the book. There's not much you can do in the creative aspect. You have to do things in a proper way.
By law, yeah,
because of the law, exactly. So it's just not something that I'm interested in personally, but it's really cool to see people like actually go through with it because, like you said, not everyone was hiring in the pandemic, and a lot of the like firms and agencies that wanted accounting people were always hiring. So
yes,
you guys had a job definitely. Well, I guess that kind of segues into what today's topic is. And let me just properly explain this. Okay. So we wanted to talk about like motivation and inspiration and how to live your best life and everything, 23andMe or whatever. Like we wanted to talk about this because I think we're both 23. A lot of our friends are around this age too. And I feel like I'm seeing this pattern of people struggling to figure out what their next steps are and reestablishing some sort of joy in their life. And I think I think this would have hit us later, like maybe when we were 25, if it wasn't for the pandemic. I think the pandemic made us like feel a little older than we actually are.
Yes, definitely.
And I think with this too, it just caused us to kind of sit there and really reflect and be like, are we really happy with what we're doing? And so I thought this was a really cool topic to talk about and to start off season 3 with, because it was only a couple weeks ago when we were hanging out. We were just like, I think we were driving somewhere and we were just talking, and you brought up the fact that you were planning to move out of the San Francisco area and you're actually moving to New York, right? You're going there for vacation and then you're going to like kind of living there.
Yes.
And I thought that was so cool because that's something I've always wanted to do, is just kind of like pick up and leave kind of vibes. But for my own reasons, I can't do that. Maybe someday. But what I really remember you saying, and maybe you can touch on this further, is that you had a talk with one of your coworkers and telling you or advising you to go enjoy your 20s, especially because you're still 23. And again, that's not too old. And why are you working a 9 to 5 and putting in all of this work and effort and stress when you could be enjoying your life and then coming back to this later, right? It's not going anywhere. So when you said that, I was just like, oh my God, you're right. We are young. We should be having fun. Why are we putting up with this? Like, so I really appreciate you saying that and actually coming on today to talk about this further, because I think there's just a lot going on in the world and a lot of different things people are struggling with. And it's interesting to see and hear about that positivity or that motivation that some people are actually now clicking with them. And I'm hoping that after people listen to this episode, it clicks with them too. And that they start to reevaluate, like, okay, how can I change my life and make it more fun for me, But do you want to elaborate on like what you had mentioned to me, or like what your coworker had said, or like anything that I just kind of went over?
Yes, of course. So it was a coworker that was actually very close to. She was like my boss. And it was back in June where she surprisingly decided to let us know that she was quitting. And she talked to us like one by one, like on her own. And because she and I were very close, because we worked with all the same clients, and whatever that I had to do, it had to go through her and not like my other coworkers. I was very close to her. And I think she kind of felt we had like a connection. And she already knew about how in the beginning, when I was working there, that I didn't really want to work there, and I had this whole plan of like moving someplace else. So one of her last things that she did tell me was like, Lesly, I really recommend like you to taking that moment. If you want to do it, you should do it, because you're young. You have nothing holding you back. You have like no like not married, you don't have kids, you're already done with school, you graduated, you can just do what you want. You don't have to be working so many hours here, especially because I think with my job currently, it's very difficult where it has come to a point that we have so much work. Like it's very stressful, and I don't know. This kind of cheers me up because I know how much I'm working. Like just last week, it's gonna be shocking, but I worked 60 hours in 5 days. Like yeah,
How?
I know. Like I think it was like Wednesday and Thursday. I worked from like 9 to like 11 p.m. and 9 to 10 p.m. Just because we had like all very harsh like deadlines and like things had to be turned in. They're gonna be like reporting is gonna be done for tomorrow, but just like we are short staffed and there's only like 3 people in my team that knows how to do it. And because we have like so many clients that we have to work with, it's very difficult. And I think this is one of like the main reasons why I do feel like I have to make a change in my life because I cannot be living like this anymore.
Right. That's a lot. That's a lot. And yeah, just to go off of like how busy your schedule is, like trying to coordinate an episode with you. I knew you were busy, so I was like, well, I don't want to push it either, but I'm hoping that you'll have fun with this and it'll be more of like a relaxing experience versus being stressful. But that's crazy to think about that you're working that much. And obviously, like people who want to work as much as they can to make as much money as they can, obviously that's something that's valuable to them. But if it's not to you,
yeah, it's
stressful.
It's just not to me. And the thing that I hate about the most is like I'm stressed, but it's not even my stress. Like it's not things that I'm dealing with. It's like I'm stressed because I have to deal with my client stuff, like other people's problems. Like I have to submit things on time for them because we are the outsourced accounting for them. And it's difficult because I don't have a work-life balance. It's just work. I literally wake up, go to sleep, work. And it's just that. And I'm tired of working. This is why I do want to like pack myself up and like experience a whole new life.
Yeah. Well, props to you for, getting through it. Because I know I've talked to so many people and, well, whether or not they're in the same field as you or just another one, for whatever reasons, like I get it if it's financial stability that's holding you back because, you don't want to give up your job. It is a pandemic. But if you have the opportunity to go do something, like make yourself more happy, yes. I feel like you should take it, So yeah. I have mad respect for you for putting up with this for so long. And now you're going to go experience and enjoy your life. Like, yeah. I feel like I can't say much because I don't work that much, right? I'm still waiting for my full-time opportunity. Some recruiter hear me right now, hire me. But it's just crazy. Like, I could never imagine myself doing that much work. Because again, like, it's like, who is it for, Mm-hmm. I don't know. It seems like a lot.
It's very stressful, but again, I am taking like this step of changing my life. And the thing is because my parents have seen how much I've worked recently, they've like supported me. They're like, Leslie, you don't have to work this much, okay? They like you. They're like, you can quit your job, and even if like you do plan on moving, we'll help you. Like just if you need financial support, they'll be there for me, and like I don't have to worry about starting my life all over again or like having to work so much. That's just like the main thing. And I feel like it's not just like affecting myself, it's like affecting my mental health, my physical health, because I'm just like sitting there all day and like I'm always tired and I just want like a change in my life.
Yeah. Well, you don't work in an office, right? You work from home?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I was talking to a few people about this not even too long ago, but I think changing environments helps with like de-stressing because you pick up and you leave, right? And you put your work there and then you come home and you can rest, right? If you work from home, there's no separation. And what is work-life balance then, right? Because you're at home, you're living your life, you're working. Like, it's so stressful to even think about. But I guess like going off of that too. So how has your work life impacted you? Like, are you able to sleep properly? Do you have time to like do a hobby or, are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating properly? Tell me, I'm concerned.
So I think this past couple weeks,
it's
just been very hard. Like sometimes even to sleep because I'm just stressed about my job. I'm like, oh, I have to do this by this certain time. And I'm just thinking about that when I'm sleeping. And like, even though I'm asleep, I feel like I'm not resting sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. And yeah, it's also affecting, I I think because I'm planning on moving, my mental health hasn't been as bad because I know I'm going to take that step. But I think it was like back like in January and February, around that time, my mental health was so bad because it was just like the beginning of like the busy accounting season when like all like the taxes and auditing was going on. I'm like, how am I going to go through this? Because I already did it, so, kind of a part of it as an intern, and I was going to start my first full year as an accounting. Doing all of that, I felt like I was gonna get a lot of stress, but I didn't think it was gonna turn out to be a lot more work how it currently is. And just I'm so ready to quit. just I'm just ready to quit and live my best life.
Yeah. So okay. Backstepping a little bit into like quitting and your plans for the future. You're going to New York in a week or two, right? No, 3 weeks?
3 weeks, yes.
3 weeks. Okay. So probably when this episode comes out, you might be in New York. That's cool. But so you're going to New York and you're taking your vacation, right? And then you're going to stay 2 weeks, or you're putting in your 2 weeks when you're at vacation.
So I'm going to go to vacation. I'm going to a couple of different cities.
Okay.
And I'm going to New York, but also I'm trying to figure out if that's like going there. I'm trying to figure out if it's the place for me to be, like if I like the whole setting, because a couple of months ago I went to LA and like Santa Monica. Like I love being near the beach and like the ocean, and I loved it there. Like I could see myself living there and being happy, just like in SoCal. And I've always wanted to go to New York, like just to live there, like since I can remember. And I think this is gonna be like my time to know if it's for me, and if it is, I'm definitely gonna take that step.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 2 different locations, right? Weather-wise, too. Curiously through your Instagram and your social media posts, you're living your best life. Love it. I'll be in school during that time. Like, I feel like
when are you starting?
I'm starting August 24th. So probably I'm gonna be like 2 weeks into the program when this episode comes out. But yeah, like I mean, it's exciting, but I just love how my vacation's ending and yours is starting. It's like love those vibes. But anyways, getting back to like the topic of like the Bay Area, moving out of it, I've thought about it recently just because we have a very toxic tech bubble in the Bay Area, and I'm not really into tech, to be honest. Like I do love technology, I love advancements, but my industry of passion is entertainment, being live and in person with people.
Yeah,
like tech kind of not forces you to be online and remote, but it kind of goes hand in hand with like being super involved with technology, obviously, right? So that's the one thing it's a pro and a con. Like I love the wealth and the knowledge it brings to the Bay Area, but it's so hard to get a job here.
Well, very hard.
It's like I don't get why we as certain majors need to take coding classes.
I agree.
So that we're competitive here. Like I'm not going to code anything anytime soon. But I had to take like 6 coding classes for my major. Like it's just stuff like that where it's just like I just don't like it. I don't like everything's so expensive here too because of all these tech companies.
It's like you said, it's so hard to get a job. Like, why are companies requiring us to do this stuff? It's like it's not even in our field of jobs or careers. Like, are they going to expect us to code one of these days and just like start coding? Like, I don't understand.
No, I'm like, dude, like I'm going to be posting on your social media. Why do I need to know how to like create an app for you? You know, like how does that make sense?
Yeah, and like, how is it that me living here and I cannot get a job interview here in the Bay Area, but I have applied to like in Southern California, I've applied to a couple of jobs and I've gotten interviews. How can I get an interview down there and I cannot get an interview here?
I feel like they make us be overqualified for jobs. Yeah. So if we apply for let's say an entry-level job here, we can't even get that. We can probably get an internship, like an unpaid internship. But if we like just apply outside of our like state, even we could be like a senior level product designer or whatever person. And how does crazy sense? I hate it. Oh my gosh. Like I was having this conversation with my parents too, where they moved to this area because everyone was like, oh, it's great places. Your kids are going to be able to get a job right away. There's so many companies, like, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, by the time we got to the point where we could get jobs and we graduated college, all the jobs were kind of, I don't want to say taken, but like, there's not they're not even, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like we're qualified from in the Bay Area perspective, at least.
Yeah, it's like very, very competitive, and it always goes to like the best of the best. Like, like companies need to take a chance on not just like the best people, but like everybody, because we all bring different types of qualities and we bring our personality into a job, and companies really take a step into expanding our opportunities to people.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good point, because just because I'm not probably the smartest person doesn't mean I don't bring value to you as a company.
Correct. Yeah.
I think especially when it comes to like the creative fields, it's so irritating to not be able to even land an interview because they're judging you based on things you're not even going to be doing for that role. Mm-hmm. So for a lot of marketing roles, right, you have to have that creative aspect to come up with campaigns, designs, product stuff, whatever, right? But the fact that they kind of try to, I don't want to say discredit you, but like not even consider you as an applicant if you don't hit certain criteria. Like you need to know how to use Salesforce. You need to know how to do like this coding, whatever. Like, dude, seriously, you can't teach creativity. You can teach those skills though. So you're lost, my guy. Like that's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
But anyways, toxic tech culture here. It's good to leave, especially if you're not really into tech or don't want to work necessarily in tech right now.
Yeah.
But it's really cool that your family's from here. So if, you know, you want to come back and transfer back here somewhere, you have that support. Mm-hmm. But is there like a particular industry you want to work in or that you're passionate about? Like, what's your dream job?
I don't know. You know, I'm trying to explore that. But I really, like you said, I love the entertainment business. Like, I want to work for like a company. And let's say it's like, let's say it's like NBC, right? Where you can like go into the office and like not just like where how it currently is my job, just all accountants. Like I don't want to do that. I want to like be like with you. Like I want to talk to like marketing people and like talk about their job and how it is. Like I want to learn and like know things. I want to be involved with the company as well, and not just like accounting or like being one thing. I want to have the opportunity where I'm able to learn from the company and my coworkers and being able to have a life with them too. Because I don't know my coworkers, like half of them were hired during the pandemic because people have been quitting a lot for some reason too. And I just want to be able to meet people, which is also another thing how you said, like here in the Bay Area, because it's very tech, a lot of companies here is like you work from home. And I kind of want to also have like the work balance of being able to go into an office and like knowing who I'm working with too.
Yeah. I second that. I value the in-person, like the human connection part of it more. Because I know a few friends that are just like, I hope the like remote thing stays forever and we don't have to be in person. And I'm like, dude, I'm hoping it gets lifted ASAP because I need that. I need to be able to see who's next to me in the cubicle and just be able to ask for help on the spot. Like right now, if I needed help and I Slack message you, I don't know when you're gonna respond, but I can walk to your desk.
That's the worst,
right? So it's so crazy and like I don't know. But shoot, what was I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, the whole idea of like working with so many different people from different departments and everything.
I want to work in some type of company like that. Like I want to work with, I don't know what type of industry or anything. I just want to work in a company where I can meet people from different departments and just know more about the job.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And I think that's what I feel like that's a whole topic of agency work versus working for in person in a corporation, or what is it called? Like in-house. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In-house versus agency. Like right now you have multiple clients and you're only doing like accounting type investment stuff, right? Yeah. Versus like if you're in-house for another company, they have their own marketers, they have their own accounting people, customer service, products specialists, whatever. So it's like, I want to work for a company or like a brand too, because I want my energy to be going towards the company or brand that I support and work for. Like right now, I'm assuming you're working with a lot of different corporations. Mm-hmm. Everything you're doing, it's for their company. It's not for yours. Like obviously your company's paying you and they're paying your company, whatever. But like, I want my value or my energy to go towards building up something that I take credit for too. Like my company, you know?
Yes. Completely agree.
I don't know where this just ended up going, but I'm glad. Thank you for sharing about your the life of Lesly. I want to go into this topic of the quarter life crisis because I think that kind of plays a role into, I guess, how we feel right now. But then, as I mentioned earlier, this is something that usually happens to people who are hitting their mid-20s and like into their early 30s. But it's hitting us sooner because I think of the pandemic, especially. Yes. But I think it's a good thing because we can notice things and adjust accordingly. But I was just wondering if this is something that has happened to you or you've been thinking about, because obviously, like from our conversation, it seems like we are thinking about this already. But or even people in your life, like, have you seen them going through this? Is it just you? But yeah, your thoughts on this. Oh, here, let me just define midlife crisis too, because I'll put a little definition here. Thank you, Google. So quarter life crisis is a crisis involving anxiety over the direction and the quality of one's life. So which is commonly experienced during a period ranging from person's early 20s up until their mid 30s. And yeah, so have you seen this happen with other people that you know of?
Yeah, actually, yes, definitely. I feel like how you said, just because we are coming out of a pandemic, and I think we are able to see what we want in our life. Like, for an example, my cousin, she's currently, I believe, her senior year in college, and she's having this type of like crisis as what is she going to do and where, because she's trying to figure out like an internship, right? And because of the pandemic, I believe it was supposed to be like in person, and it changed to online, and it kind of bummed her out, and she's trying to figure out if she can get someplace else or even looking for jobs after graduation. And she's trying to figure out like if she's gonna stay here as well, or she wants to move like to the East Coast too. And I think it's just everybody.
Sorry, is she in college? She's a senior in college?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought high school. I was like, why is she thinking about this already?
No, in college.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say that plus, well, it's so stressful to think about. I know we've been through this too, where we were thrown into it. We didn't even have time to prepare for the pandemic, but I think after going through it and still going through it, there's a lot of advice we can offer to people, right? I've talked to so many of like my friends that were recently graduating from USF, and I'm just like, don't get scammed by people, because I felt like that was a huge thing. There were a lot of scamming companies trying to target freshmen or recent graduates, but it's good to be thinking about this stuff, right? It's not a bad thing that you're reflecting and it feels like you're overthinking at times when it comes to the topic of like, oh, what should I do next? Things are remote. I don't want to be remote. But how did you, I guess, maybe going back a little bit, like, how did you even deal with this when pandemic happened and we were gonna kind of graduate? Like, what was your mindset? Because you said you didn't want to work for the company you're currently at, or you were thinking of switching things up, but then you ended up going with them anyways? Like, what was going through your mind at that time?
I don't know, it kind of felt like I was already prepared to like my wings, letting my like wings fly, and like change my whole life. And it kind of like put like a stop to like everything. It's just been like a pausing from like what I've been wanting to do. And ever since like back, was it last year when the pandemic started?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just
feels long.
It feels very long. Like ever since then, I feel like my life has been put on pause from like the things that I really wanted to do. And it's affected a lot of my mental health, because I know what I want to do. And I especially like in the beginning, I wasn't able to do anything that I wanted to do. And over time, it got very bad where I was like crying during the day or like nights, and it was very bad. And just like talking to friends and like my mom, and it's been able to like calm down. And just I'm knowing that the things that I'm doing right now, especially my job, it's not for me. And especially like I need to change, which I know is going to happen sooner rather than later, way sooner. I'm not, especially because right now what I'm doing, quarterly working, I'm going to wrap up by the end of this month. Do not want to start another quarter work again, because I don't want to work as much. And I know this. So I'm definitely trying to reevaluate everything that I've been doing and making a change in my life.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that, because I very similarly, I think it was like talking is what really helped during this time. And even us talking about this like this, right? Even there was times when I was like, okay, now I know what I want to do. I want to do my podcast. Now I want to go to grad school. But then it's like, well, do I really just want to do that? Well, like, what else do I want to do? And talking to people like you who are also figuring it out, we can like bounce ideas off of each other. So I like 100% agree. Like, I think if you're going through this, talking to someone would really help. Even if they're not in a similar position of you, like it helps when they kind of know and are going through a similar thing, but getting outside perspective always helps too. So definitely, whether you're talking to your parents, your sibling, your random neighbor, like talking to someone will definitely bring some sort of closure or
guidance.
idea. Yeah,
Anything
guidance.
that will help you to know what you want to do.
Right. But going back to your cousin, right? Cousin that you were mentioning earlier? Yeah. So, I guess my question was, I'm like brain farting a little bit. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Okay. I got it. So your cousin, I'm assuming she's like, is she 22?
Yes.
22? Okay, cool. So around the same age that we are. I was just going to bring up like my example person is my brother. He's 25. I think he's about to turn 26. So he's at not the right age to go through a crisis, but like he's in the definition of a quarter life crisis. And I think he's experiencing the same thing as you, where it's like he's working so many hours, he's not happy with his work, and it's impacting his like social life and everything. And just being someone observing that from like a sibling perspective, and then seeing you as a friend going through it, and then seeing other friends who maybe aren't at a career path yet, it's so hard. It's like so easy to compare yourselves to other people, right? And then say like, well, they're having fun, and you know that they're making money, but they're also having fun. And then, oh, why is this person doing this? And like, I'm doing this. Like, I don't know if you've ever like, it's so easy to just compare yourself to people, especially with like advancements in technology. Like on Instagram, I open it up and there's like 40 people posting about being at this fancy restaurant, drinking a mimosa. And I'm like, dang, I want that life. But I think that also adds to like the quarter life crisis thing of, I think growing up, we're kind of all at the same level where we're like high schoolers, middle schoolers, whatever. And then college happens, and whatever you do in those 4 years, you end up at some sort of path by the end of it. Mm-hmm. And then now it's like everyone's going to go down a different path, like no matter what, right? Like we're not on the same wavelength anymore. And I've seen like a couple of my friends from high school, or just people I knew in high school, whether or not they like went through with college, they're definitely, I can see them comparing themselves to us who have gone through college. Mm-hmm. And there's definitely negative effects. I've stopped talking to some people just because they've distanced themselves from me. Uh-huh. I'm not sure if it's because of college or like whatever, but I think they're definitely processing how they want to go down their certain path, and it differs from mine. And it's sad because it's like, we're all friends, or I thought we were all friends, or maybe we still are, but like everyone just needs their time to figure out this period of time. But I was just wondering, like, if you've seen this happen for people, or it's happened for you, like what advice do you have, or like how do you keep yourself motivated or keep going and pushing through this weird time frame? Sorry, I said a lot. Like I just went on a rant. I was just like, there's a lot going on in my mind right now.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I think the only, like, probably the most important thing for any person right now is just, if you have something that you're passionate about, just keep doing it. If not, try different things. Like no matter what it is, just find something that you like, or you will end up liking, and just come something up with it. You never know what it could be. Try different things. Try hiking. Like try drawing, or because some people like love art, and like I wish I was an artist. I guess I feel like also my job kind of killed that a little bit. Like, but yeah, go find your the passion that you have out there. Everybody has a passion. You just have to find it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was perfect. Because I think around this time is also like we've lived a really long life. I don't want to say we're old, but we've lived a pretty long life. And in that time, I think more responsibilities have been added, or more things to do have been added, that pushes away that maybe we don't have enough time anymore to do certain things. But I think I agree. If you can make time to do the things you're passionate about, whether it's, cooking, baking, doing art, dancing, whatever it is, like find it and keep doing it. Because even if you're going through a stressful process, let's say like Leslie, she has the opportunity to kind of like move on, like quit work or whatever, and just like, I'm going to travel. If you're in a spot where you can't do that, that's totally fine. Do stuff that's in your control to make your life a little happier, or to bring some sort of balance to your life, and ask for help if you need that, right? Because I think definitely asking and talking to people is going to help with that and help you move forward. But definitely. Yeah, it's crazy that there's a term for the things we're feeling right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think
Um,
there's just been too many people that been going through it, especially like not just us, our
yeah,
generation, like our people our age are going through this because of the pandemic. We also have to remember that people went through this about like 10 years ago with the the
the
housing
recession.
the recession. Yes, because
Yes.
people went through all this at
Yeah.
that time, and we're also learning from those people, like people's mistakes and things they went through, and just like I think that also goes back to how my boss was probably actually one of those people back in 2008 where she was part of the crisis, and maybe that's why she goes back into telling me like during this pandemic to pick up from my job and just live my life, you know, learning. Maybe she learned from her mistakes or she's learning from her past and she wants to help guide some other people. And I think that's what other people should also figure out, what it is they want to do in their life, and just live your best life.
There you go. Alrighty. Well, before we wrap up, I also wanted to just talk a little bit about like prioritizing certain things because I think it's very easy to get sidetracked and to think about, like it's so easy to not worry about money when you have it. And I don't want to say like we're all at different points. I don't have a lot of money, so I mean I need it. But when it comes to prioritizing certain things, how are you in your life right now prioritizing it? Because I'm just curious because after talking to someone yesterday and learning that they prioritize money over anything else, like they rather be miserable but at least to make a lot of money so that they can be happy later. I was just wondering what your mindset is with that because mine's not like that. And I was just curious, like, should I be worrying about money? Like, am I just thinking wrong?
Well, I think it also just depends on how we grew up, and like again, I think how you said how also like how we grew up and how we were raised. And I think just for me, money is not a priority.
Mm-hmm.
Well, especially maybe right now because we're young, and I don't think it we like for a job and everything. I don't think money's a priority as long as I'm happy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a time when we're young, we're supposed to be experiencing things. We're supposed to be out staying up late at night and partying, having
Bar hopping.
fun, seeing, traveling,
Yeah.
like, and
Like
I don't,
living.
yeah, like living your life. And I don't think money and like stuff that has to do with that type of stuff is something we should be worrying about now, because this is the time where we are growing ourselves. This is a time where we are making mistakes and learning from it. And I feel like that whole thing about money and stuff is something I can worry about, like, let's say 10, 15 years from now, when I'm ready to, like, I will say that around 10 years from now, like when I'm in my
Yeah.
30s, I can start worrying about like settling down, and like money is going to be my priority, because probably during that time is when I'm going to be starting a family maybe, and like I'm going to have to like settle down and think about the future. But right now, I think money is not something that I'm prioritizing. I'm prioritizing my happiness, my energy, like to be glowing, and I think, yeah, I don't know what do you prioritize?
Same thing. Well, because like here's the thing. I think you put it beautifully with like the whole like why are we again like I don't know what your financial background is. Like you probably can't enjoy life if you weren't making money, right? Like, like that's a requirement in order to like live, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
To pay for things, have a roof over your head, all of that. But if it's not something you need to prioritize, I'm 100% with you. It I think later on, right, when we're like in our 30s, that's usually around the time now that people are starting families and like getting married and everything. And like kudos to that. But I don't want to spend my 20s building up for something that far in advance when I could be living in the moment and enjoying it now.
Yes.
Because I don't want to have regrets. Like later down the line when my kids are like, oh, what did you do when you were this old? I don't want to be like, I was working 9 to 5, like since I was 4, like I want to experiencing and have stories to tell and make connections with people
Yes.
and go have fun, because I think we take life for granted sometimes, and everyone makes this plan of like, oh, we're gonna work hard now so that when we're 40 we can go travel the world. Well, why not travel now when you have the energy? You're young, you're hot, you're fire, right?
Definitely.
Go do it now. Why are you waiting until you're 40?
Yeah,
Like, go now.
there's another thing. It's like right now we're young and everything, but you also you don't know when you're gonna die. I get Like, I don't want to know that I'm going to be like 23 working so many hours, and then the next day I die and I'm going to be like, that was my life? I did just that? Where was my happiness? I didn't experience life. I want to like be able to enjoy the something that some people like take for granted. Like life is something so special and so rare. We only have one, or we should just enjoy it.
Right. It's so beautiful. I know, I 100% agree. It's like I don't want to bring up death, but like, yeah, you never know what's gonna happen. So why are we planning for something in the later when we don't know what's gonna be later?
Definitely. Yeah.
One huge regret that I have happened because of the pandemic was I kept pushing off spring break. Like I was like, oh, I'll just go on this trip with my friends during spring break, my last year. Like it'll be cool because I don't know. I was planning something junior year and I was like, I'll just do it next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then for spring, what was it, like spring break, our senior year, COVID happened. It was so
unforeseeable. Oh my god, I remember that.
I know. It was like I could have had fun earlier. Like I had enough money saved up before too. I was just putting it off because I was like, oh, just wait until senior year. Yeah. What happened? Look, something super out of our control happened, right? And I don't want to take that thing again. Like I don't want to take life for granted again, or like normalcy for granted. So yeah, when I do get the chance, I'm gonna go travel. I need to just go. I need to go.
No, we need to go to the historic places and
yes. No, I agree. It's so sad. But that's why, like, I think for the longest time in my life, you know how like people are like, oh, I'm that type of person who needs to plan things to a detail. And that was me. But even though I planned things to a detail, it didn't work out. So you just have to be able to pivot. And I think it makes sense to enjoy your time too. Like if you're not enjoying the now, you're going to regret it later. There's things that I regret I didn't do in college because I was so focused on post-college while I was still in college.
That was definitely me. I was like, I didn't enjoy college at all. I was just there. Classes, when I was done with classes, I either went straight to work or straight to the office to do my internship. College was just a blink of an eye. It just came and went by, and it didn't feel like I went there because we graduated through Zoom.
Yeah. But yeah, like I just think that that's something that incoming students are always told. I remember even like in freshman year, my RA was like, hey, you know what? Like college is gonna just go away like this, like that. It's gonna 2 seconds you're here and then 4 seconds later you're out. Like enjoy it. And I think as a kid, or when I was like a fresh 18-year-old, I was just like, you don't know nothing. Like I'm enjoying myself and enjoying myself with studying and just staying in the library, learning stuff. I mean, I did fun things. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was part of clubs and like, you know, I hung out with friends. But I think I put off a lot of having fun for later when I was more of an adult. Where I was like, I could have done stuff then too. I just kept being like, oh, when I'm an adult, I'll have fun then. And I'm like, bro, why did I do that? Like, why? I was an adult then too. It's just, I don't know. I have this tendency to, as myself, like put things off until later that are more fun. Because I think I just need to keep myself busy and work really hard right now because I'm not good at, I don't know, is it because I'm not good enough to have fun yet? Like I haven't worked hard enough. I don't know what it is. It's a bad mindset. And if you're like me, no, you did good, go and have fun. Like that's what I say.
Go out and enjoy your life.
Yeah. But anywho's, I guess to wrap up, I wanted to ask you what changes you're going to start making to your lifestyle now that can kind of help prevent this sort of like, I guess, unbalanced work life that you might have, or this over stressful environment that you've put yourself into. Like what kind of changes do you think you're going to make besides moving away and maybe working for like an industry or a company that you actually, you know, really want to work for? Because I think that's a good way to kind of wrap up / like have advice for people listening. Take your time.
I know. I'm just thinking.
I took this part out, but then I'm gonna put it back in because, like, I guess sometimes, like, some of these are good to wrap up with.
Oh yeah, I'm just thinking. Like, I don't know how I can change anything in my lifestyle right now because I just can't. From the timing of what my job is currently doing, I have no chance of being able to have a balance until the end of this month. I'm currently in my work, and then after that, I'm gonna be on my vacation. But I'm hoping when I come back, I quit. Fingers crossed, I still do that. Because like you don't know what can happen. Because originally, I did plan on quitting in June, but my boss told me she was quitting, and I had remorse, like me quitting too, and just leaving my 2 team members there doing the whole accounting reporting season. And I felt so bad, and I'm not going to go through that again. It was just a lot of stressful, long hours, and I think that's one thing that I'm definitely going to change. I'm hoping to quit when I return by the end of next month.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I think if you're experiencing things similar to us, I think making the change of like prioritizing yourself a little bit, because that was you thinking about others, right, and not how you were feeling. Like you put them before you.
Yes,
And
I don't, because I know how hard our work is, and I just felt so bad if I was gonna leave only 2 people doing so much work for so many clients. Like, I felt so bad. I'm like, I cannot do this to them, especially because they did hire more people on our team, but like they just starting, and I know they've learned stuff through the last couple of months where they're going to be able to start being more hands-on in the work, where even as we are, as our people are taking like a step back for them being able to learn, they're going to be able to take a step forward. And I'm not going to feel bad quitting, because I need to prioritize me and my mental health, and that's something very important. Just being okay with your life.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I was gonna say, I think changes to my lifestyle, at least. Well, I guess I haven't mentioned much of like why I'm feeling like I can't do a lot of things, or why now I am trying to prioritize myself or change my lifestyle up a little bit. So I'm starting grad school, like I mentioned earlier, like in less than 2 weeks. And my opportunity is to live from home and commute to school, which is like 2 hours a day, 3 days right now, maybe 4 days. And I'm not that far from San Francisco, and I'm going back there, but that's something that I was thinking about doing, is like moving there and kind of reliving my last year of college again through grad school. And for the most part, like my parents are supportive of me making that decision however I want. My mom's really pushing me for moving there and being away from home, because she kind of seen how like hard it is to travel like that. And then she wants me to just enjoy it. Like why, and then just like my home environment isn't like probably the best for me to, do grad school in. And so she's kind of like leave and enjoy that. But I think similar to you of, how you were thinking about your coworkers, I just keep thinking about my parents, and I don't want to like leave them. I feel like, well, I did do that when I went to college the first time, but now we've become so reliant on each other, especially in the pandemic. Like when they come home, I'm there to welcome them. I'm there to like help cook, clean, everything. And I think they've become very comfortable with me being here, and I just feel bad just getting up and leaving. Even though they're saying it's okay, just do it. I'm trying to, it's been so hard to prioritize myself in this whole process. But I think that's the end goal of like you living your life, right? In order for them to live their best life, you need to live yours too. Because they're your parents. They want to see you happy.
Yes, they want the best for you.
Exactly. And so I think that's something that I'm trying to do again, is prioritize myself now. Some other things that when I was researching things that were mentioned in a lot of different articles was like paying attention to small things and how those impact the world and your world and how you see things. Smile, that's always nice. Perform acts of kindness, give thanks, and try not to worry about everything. Like things are out of your control and you should focus on the now.
Yes. So I try to take that very into my life every day. Try not to worry about things that I have to do in the future, and just worry about the things that I have to do now.
Right?
Yes.
I think, I don't know who I was talking to, but one of my relatives, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, if I don't do this, then I'm not going to be able to do this. And it was like, they were just like, girl, you're young. Like, why are you worried about this? That's stuff we're worrying about. I think I was talking to them about like my retirement fund or something. And they're like, girl, you're like 20. You don't need to retire yet. Like, chill. It's stuff that, it's second nature just to think so much ahead into the future. But at one point in time, the present was the future, and you should think about this, because this is important too. But
I feel like I was actually like that at one point in my life, when I was always thinking about the future. I'm like, oh, I'm going to retire young. But I think the whole experience that I've had from my job at the pandemic, I know that I have to enjoy the moment, live in the moment.
100%. Well, that was a lot. We covered a lot. And I apologize in advance if it was kind of a little all over the place. This topic was really interesting it was hard to organize because we're trying to live in the moment within this document too. But thank you, Leslie, for being a part of this. I hope you had fun. I had fun just chatting and like learning things. And I feel like you have a really great perspective to bring on this. So thank you for being on to share it.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you. Well, I guess I don't know how to wrap this up. Well, is there any other last thoughts or comments or anything you have before I wrap this up? I forgot how I do this usually. I haven't recorded in like weeks, months.
No, I think the only thing that I have is for the people that are listening is try to find or have something that you enjoy no matter what it is that you do, so you can be happy in the moment, or have something that you enjoy so you can make something out of it in the future. Because you see people, even like you said, like on Instagram, there are like people who just take pictures as a hobby and they're able to make a career out of it, or like artists that do paintings and somehow they are able to sell their art and they become artists and they live through that. People can make a living through their hobbies or things that they like. You don't know, Kiran, in the future, by doing this podcast, you can become somebody important, and you never know who you can have in the podcast. And just having this in your life, you don't know where it could take you.
Thank you. I never know how to respond to shit like that. I get emotional. I try not to cry. But thank you. I hope to, I don't know, make it big, make you all proud. Like you're gonna be like, yeah, I was on that.
You're already making us proud, but you never know who's hearing, or who you can have next that can open the doors for you.
I know. I think I like how we just talked about live in the moment, and then I never think about those things, especially when it comes to like the podcast. I think I just love talking to people and putting fun stuff out there, and then I'm like, I think big picture wise, I'm not even like thinking of that. So thank you, though. Thank you so much for your kind words. Love you. You're so sweet.
You're welcome.
But yeah, no, I second that. I think like if you never know where your passion, your hobby, your interest can take you. It can build you up and even support you financially. Who knows, right? So dedicate time to it. But yeah, so thank you everyone for listening. Thank you again, Leslie, for being on. Again, for more information on Leslie and today's topic, check out our website, LinkedIn, and our Instagram at 98.podcast. The video version of this interview will be available on our YouTube channel, so please check that out as well. But yeah, thanks again, Leslie.
Thank you.
And until next time, bye-bye.